Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. I am just filming and taking pictures for the one room challenge kind of finale because it's supposed to end on Sunday the 27th. And of course I'm not finished, but we're in pretty good shape. So I thought I would take some photos, post some stories, and I may as well show you guys how I styled it for right now. I just remembered that earlier in the day, I did the grouting, which I did include in last vlog. So I'm going to insert that clip before I walk through what everything looks like. And then also I was going to talk to you about how we knew how to do the tiling because that's a question that I got. So let me just quickly do that as well. So here's what the tile looks like now that it's grouted. And you can see I need to put silicone down here, but when you're doing a subway tile, you can see that you want them to, I didn't want them stacked, so I wanted them to be like this. So it means that you need a bunch of half pieces and a bunch of full pieces, and you can see it goes every other. My parents did a lot of their own stuff for their house like I am doing now, so they had a tile cutter. So that's why we had that. I believe that you can rent them, you don't need to buy them. So that's why we had that. My mom had done some tiling before and I just watched a video on how to do it. So you can see my laser level in the back. That was pretty critical to make sure that all the lines were going straight, not only vertically but horizontally. So we kept moving that. I'm not sure if you noticed that in the last vlog, but that was important. And I got that from Amazon. And that's just on my picture tripod. And then the mortar that is holding the tiles up, I just did a quick Google of the type of tile I have on the Home Depot website, and they had a recommended one, so I used that. The grout I will also talk about, but I just asked the tile shop what they recommended and the color they recommended, and happy I went with that because I think it looks great. So my mom helped me put the tile up, but I did the grouting on my own, and it was not a fun job. Basically, based on a YouTube video I watched, you have to cover like all the tile and then like get the grout in all the little crevices, but over the tile as well. And then you have about an hour, probably closer to half an hour would have been better, to go back with a sponge. You're supposed to use a tile sponge. I didn't have a tile sponge, and it's supposed to be damp, and then you like rub the excess grout off of the tile so that it's only left in the crevices. So that's what I did. So in terms of the tiling, we started over in the corner over here and worked this way and then back this way when we were putting the tile up. Most of the time we weren't making any hard cuts. We would do like 5 rows at a time. So we would start with a full piece, then a half piece and a full piece, and kind of go over a little bit and put the mortar up on the wall just for those sections, and then keep going as we went along. And the only places that we had to make cuts, here we didn't have to make any because, well, it was the half pieces, so those were cut. But the trickiest pieces I'd say were along the very top up here because they were like this thick and they were long. And then we also had to make some cuts over in the corner, but again, they were equal. So it would be like a big piece and then a small piece. And we just had to make cuts off of that. So it wasn't too bad. It's definitely, I think, based on the videos I watched, one of the most, it's one of the projects that most people are willing to take on, and it's like a beginner home reno DIY sort of project. So it really wasn't bad. It's just tiring on your arms and a time-consuming thing, but definitely would do it again to save some money. I just took all of these spacers out from the tile and gave it a little clean. I put some painter's tape over the electrical plugs because well, sometimes I can be messy with that sort of stuff. And then I put a little stripe of green painter's tape up the side of that cabinet, and then this one here, just in case. I mean, I left a gap so that I can put the grout in, but yeah. So let me show you the grout that I'm using. I just quickly watched a YouTube video. It doesn't seem that hard to do this, so we'll see what happens. This is the grout that was recommended by the company that I got the tile through. I just asked the tile shop, and this is what they suggested. This is the color they suggested, so I went with it. It's probably a bigger bag than I needed, but I just thought it would be better to get it all done at once. I bought this mixer at the hardware store, and I don't have a bucket, so I'm using this dollar shop trash can. And I've got this protector on the floor just to be safe. It's just leftover cork from when they did the flooring, and then this is what the cabinet doors were wrapped in, which is the same stuff we ended up putting on the counters. So I'm gonna look at the instructions on this grout and mix it all up, and then I guess put on some rubber gloves and apply it to the wall. It seems like you have about 20 minutes to put it on the wall, and you like kind of put it all over, and then you have an hour to like wash it off with a sponge. I didn't buy a tile sponge, so I'm gonna use a kitchen sponge. I don't know. Maybe that's a poor idea, but yeah. Also, when we were doing the tiling, because we're putting the same range hood back up, I pre-drilled the holes that were used to put the frame up, just because otherwise I was gonna lose them and then the hood wouldn't be centered over the oven. So I just covered those with a little bit of painter's tape as well. I have to say I'm pretty in love with it. When I was styling it, Chris walked in, he was like, wow, our kitchen's gonna be amazing. So let me just kind of quickly walk through what we actually need to finish to get this project done. And also I'm gonna show you the rest of my kitchen right now. When I was styling this, I just had to get everything out of the shot, which is kind of funny. So this is the other side of the kitchen. Isn't that one of those funny things where one side is glamorous and the other is just a disaster, but it's just been a weekend, so let me get that sorted out later. So what needs to be finished? So this week, I think I can put the range hood up, and then the plan is at some point I want to build custom cover, so it will be the same color as the cabinets. Remember, the old one was just a silver range hood, and I'm going to cover it with wood and trim, and it's going to be this color. I still need to do the silicone caulking all up the side and then along the bottom where the countertop and the tile meets, because, well, if you spilled some water right now, it could seep down in behind my cabinets, which would not be good. Also, I need to put the cabinet hardware on, which I'm terrified of, because if I mess it up, then there's a hole in my cabinets. Also, I need to properly align the doors, because see, the gaps aren't even. So that just involves, adjusting these, which is a little bit of a frustrating process. I need to get a trim piece for that gap between the two cabinets. None of these cabinets have shelving in them. I have some trim pieces to put in. So there's a trim piece that will go in here, so you won't see how we ended the tile. It will just be a nice filler piece. I'm also gonna put some crown or some trim up the top. There's also kick plates that need to be cut and put in, as well as some trim pieces that need to go in here, and then something above here, because I don't like staring at that. So I'm gonna put something in there. I also might put a little tiny trim piece along here that would be like touching the quartz. This panel is not attached, it's just leaning here for the photo. And then this one needs to go on, but we wanted to give it a few days once the plumbing was done to make sure that there were no leaks. Also, the panel doesn't fit in with this banquette, so I've actually got to cut the drywall back a little bit and fix that. Once that's done, the shiplap will go on this section and I can hang up that sconce. I think I mentioned I didn't order enough hinges. My mom suggested maybe putting some baskets there, so I think that's it. Kind of sounded exhausting when I said all of that, but I don't think it should be too bad. The thing I'm most scared about is putting the hardware on the cabinets, but things are good. I'm also thinking of asking for the little mullion thingy that's on this for up there. So I also would like to do that. And for some reason, IKEA does not sell a bin that fits in here for garbage and recycling. Like, this doesn't fit, obviously. Look at how much wasted space there is. I've looked it up, there's threads about it, so also need to figure that out. We're hoping to get a different table for here that fits a little better. We're just using this one for now because we had it, but yeah, got some stuff to do, but we're getting there. It's looking good, and it functions. Also, I did pick up all of the shiplaps, so once I fix that drywall, I have drywall in the basement and the compound from that other project. It should be smooth sailing. I just really need to fix that situation. It's out by like 1/4 of an inch, so if I give it 1/2 inch, it should be fine. And I'm not gonna do the whole column like I should. I'm just gonna angle it. Not ideal, but I'm gonna do it. So hopefully this week I should get that done. You know how I was having that problem fitting the banquette in because I gave some room, some wiggle room, but it wasn't enough wiggle room. So I was like less than 1/4 inch off from the banquette fitting. So my plan of action was to just replace the drywall, but then my dad said, well, there's probably metal studs there that the drywall is screwed into, so unless you get 1/4 inch drywall, blah, 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 we'll have to move it all. So I thought, well, if I'm already potentially gonna have to redo this wall, it doesn't matter if I take a hammer to it. So let me show you what's happening. First off, here is the beautiful panel, and then here are the banquettes. And you can see I managed to squeeze it in after I hammered the wall. So, I mean, if we never wanted to open this, I could probably just patch it all up and deal with that situation and move right along with my life, but I don't think that everyone will be happy with that solution. So, now I'm thinking, well, what if I cut here and make this piece fixed and this piece still open? See what's happening here when I try to open it, it's just making a mess. But see how much space I've got from the edge of the lid over? So if I cut it and make it stationary on this side and only working hinge on this side, I think that would work. And then I could just patch this up and then we could forget all about it and not actually have to re-drywall the whole wall, just fix that cosmetic issue. So that's where we're at. Also, there is a plug right there that we don't really want to hide. Also, look at all that kitty fluff. So that is also a consideration to deal with. But I was thinking of maybe like putting a plug. You can get like extensions for plugs that look like plugs, if that makes sense. So I could mount it here and then it would be connected through to that one. I don't know. I need to talk to Chris. But I mean, at least I made it fit and I know that it was only a little bit that it was off. Does it make it any better? No. That's why I should have had all of this done and then done this after the fact. But anyways, I also have all the shiplap to put on this wall, which is in the car, which I need to get out before we go to the cottage. So that's fun. I'm attempting the most scary thing I've had to do, which is drill the holes for the hardware. So you can see I've already got a few on. So I bought this on Amazon. It is a cabinet hardware jig, and I don't think I'm using it exactly the way you're supposed to, but I've got the bottom one lined up perfectly, And then I've got this side one lined up perfectly so that the hole is exactly where I want it. And I marked it with a permanent marker just so that I could mark it, double check with a ruler that it is in the perfect spot. And then when I go to put it back, I can actually see it, because when I was using a pencil, I couldn't. And then the cabinet hardware from Rejuvenation tells you what size drill bit to use, so that has been helpful. So I'm just doing this on the counter for all of the knobs, and then when it comes to the other hardware, well, that is a different situation. I got all of these knobs up and decided I would attempt the latches, and I pre-drilled the holes with the drill bit that they suggested, and the screws have broken off inside the holes. So I don't really know what to do, because it's kind of wrecked this now. I can't get them out because they're almost flush, so nothing will grab onto it. So I'm kind of frustrated. I never gave you an update on what happened with the latches just because I was so frustrated. But what ended up happening is I got those 2 screws out that were stuck. The holes are now a bit bigger, but there's 4 screws that hold that side of the latch in. 2 are really strong, and the other 2, one grabbed a little, the other one's purely decorative now, unfortunately. And I wish I had started with the cabinet that wasn't getting much use, because the sink cabinet, which is what I was doing, gets a lot more use. Nonetheless, I think it's fine. And for the other 4 latches that I had to do, I just made the holes that I pre-drilled into the cabinet fronts a little bit bigger. I just looked at the screw that came with the hardware and made the hole a little bit tinier so that it had something to grab onto, and it worked. I didn't have any more breaking screws after that, but it's just frustrating. I did complain to Rejuvenation because I did see some threads about this, and that's clearly an issue that happens. So I don't know if I would recommend this hardware. Maybe I would if you know in advance that you need to pre-drill your holes bigger than what they recommend. But technically, like, the screws ruined that cabinet door, so I don't know what they're gonna do about that complaint, but I definitely think they need to update their little piece of paper that comes with the hardware. And then what I didn't get done was the pulls on the drawers, because I decided that the 3-inch pulls that I got were not big enough. I needed 4-inch pulls, so I ordered some more. So let me show you how it's looking. The kitchen is not the cleanest, but you can see the knobs and latches are all in. This is one pull that I ended up doing the 3-inch one, because I thought, you know, this is a pretty skinny cabinet, so that looks good. I kind of a little bit regret not getting a panel dishwasher, but when I did all my research on the dishwashers, I wanted to get the best one, and that was the best one, so that's why I went with it. But it would definitely look better if it was paneled, sadly. But I don't think I'm gonna change that as much as I would like to. I started to do the kickboards, but I ran into an issue. It's gonna be really dirty under here as well, so I'm gonna deal with that. But if you guys can see how this is the bottom of the cabinet, but this is like the in-between piece. So the kick plates will go under here, no problem, but when it comes to here, they won't. So I think I've got to shave off a little piece for where it goes there. So that is a little annoying, but is what it is. So that's why I haven't done those. I'm trying to come up with a solution. And then to cut this piece, I need a table saw. So waiting on that. I think I have a game plan to hang up the range hood. But my main focus for today, I think, is going to be this wall. I put this shiplap here just to see what it looks like. You can see I taped it to the wall, but this is the project for this Sunday. So I borrowed the nail gun and the jigsaw from Chris's dad at the cottage. So I think I'm gonna be able to pull this out a little bit, and then I'm gonna just nail gun all of this. I think that this last piece is gonna be tricky because of the counter, and it may not even be a full piece, but we'll see. And then I'll have to put some pieces up there as well. I have more of the shiplap on the floor here. So I'm hoping that won't take too long. And then I also have the jigsaw to cut out the electrical box. So I got to make sure that that's perfectly placed as well. So I'm hoping that I can get that done, and then another day I can paint it. I was kind of leaning towards painting the color of the cabinets, but Chris says I should paint it the color of the walls. So we'll see how that goes. And then I can patch up the drywall situation. So I think that's the game plan for today. I think I'm gonna wrap the vlog up here because I really wanna get a head start on all of the projects that we are doing over here. Finnegan, hey, it's very noisy. So I'm hoping to get this shiplap wall done today. I have so much laundry and catching up to do. We were at the cottage for a few days, so that's why I didn't get a little more accomplished this week than you would think. So I'm hoping to get the laundry done, just organize. And also, if you remember, back in March, I ordered that beautiful chandelier for my dining room, and about 2 weeks ago, it came in and we picked it up, but because of the kitchen chaos, I have not done anything with it. So I'm hoping this week I can get that up. I also ordered some patio furniture, so that should be coming this week. So next weekend we should have quite a few updates. That will be very exciting. But until then, I hope you have an amazing week, and check Instagram because I will be posting some updates there as the week progresses.